So this is a family that we've already talked about a little bit in class. This is the Asteraceae. Important family to get your head around. I think people are already partially there. We covered this in the lab last week. So it's the second most diverse family on the earth of flowering plants, of all plants. About 23,000 species, maybe a little bit more, probably more than the legumes. So it's best recognized by its inflorescence shape. So that typical head of flowers, which we covered a bit last week. So technically speaking, hopefully everyone got this from the lab last week, but I'll just review it here. So in the standard format Asteraceae flower, there are two types of flowers in that inflorescence. The ray florets, which are here, which have all of the petals modified into this one thing, sometimes called a ligule, which is the united petals, all forming that one kind of petal-like part of the display for the daisy. And then you have the stamens and the stigma inside, which is very small to see. Then you have this floral tube. You have this modified sepals, which are now called a pappus. They're often like very hair-like. And then you have the seed below, or the ovary, which becomes the seed. And it's below where the petals come out, so inferior ovary. So that is just one part of this whole inflorescence head. That's the outside one. In the central flowers, which are sometimes called disc florets, you have the same thing, except there still are often 5 petals that look like this. And everything else is the same, but it's not modified into this giant petal-like thing. And so these sit in the middle of the daisy, the central flowers of the daisy. Again, inferior ovary, below where the seed is below where the ovary is. So that's the standard one. Oh, the other thing is the bracts, which are down below the inflorescence. This whole thing is inflorescence, so these are bracts, not sepals. The sepals are here. So that's the standard format. Sometimes you get modifications of it. Sometimes all the flowers look like this. Sometimes all the flowers look like this. And sometimes various bits of this are absent. It's basically how you can think about most of the modification. Lots of them in this family. Perhaps the most common one is that the ray florets are absent. So these ones are absent. So all of them look like this, which is what you get in a dandelion type flower. But yeah, lots of different colors, lots of different versions of that thing. So the old name was called the Compositae, for this kind of composites flower. So flower composed of lots of stuff stuck together. Second most diverse family. Many natives and many weeds in Australia. So both really diverse in terms of the natives and really diverse in terms of the weeds. Around here, mostly herbaceous plants and shrubs at this latitude. But if you go up to the tropics, you often, especially in the neotropics, so South America, Mexico, you get trees that are Asteraceae. So it's not pretty much, rarely are they vines, usually freestanding. But around here, mostly herbaceous and shrubs. It's super common and often dominant in arid environments. So a lot of the world's deserts are dominated by Asteraceae. So really good at water relations and dealing with dry climates. Lettuce and artichoke are two ones that people don't usually know are Asteraceae. This is a lettuce flower, which is looks very much like a sunflower, but no one ever sees lettuce flowers because you don't see them in the supermarkets. And then artichokes are what you eat are the bracts. So these bracts down here are modified in artichokes to be really big and fleshy, and the flower hasn't opened yet. So you harvest the artichoke before the inflorescence matures. So this is a flower bud with really big bracts, and what you're eating are the fleshy bits at the base of the bracts. So yeah, lettuce and artichokes, and that's the Asteraceae.